Hello! If you are not new here, you're probably wondering, Ella, why do you look like that? And if you've never seen me or heard of me before, you're probably wondering, who are you and why do you look like that? And I have some really good news for both of you. This is my Booktube Newbie Tag video where I'm going to be introducing myself, and the reason why I look like this is because some dude stole my wisdom teeth a couple days ago and I paid him to do it, which kind of makes the crime of stealing way worse in my opinion. So here we are. I've dressed up for the occasion. You know, I just thought if I was going to make an introductory video to this channel, then it might as well be done in a way that really reflects who I am as a person. And this feels truly authentic because I am someone who is constantly pushing myself, which is something that I'm challenging. Fun fact about me, internalized ableism, hell of a drug. So I look like this. I also need to try and not smile that much because it pulls at the stitches in my mouth. But this video will be fun. I have, I think, stolen and cannibalized and mixed up a list from two places. One from Kindwin or Feed the Rider. Bestie loved the list, loved the video. Me too, me, I want to do that. Then I think I took a couple of questions from Nicole Sweeney's video. If memory serves me correctly, at the end I think she encouraged anyone to just pretend like we'd been tagged, so that's exactly what I'm doing. If I'm making that up, no I didn't. So sorry. Okay, where do we begin? Probably with question one, and question one is, why did you start this channel? I started this channel because I like to talk. I realized that I feel really sad when I look at all of my notebooks. I am a chronic note taker to the point where any media I interact with or consume in any way has at least a page or two written down in a notebook where I'm sort of sorting out my thoughts and feelings and then asking myself why I think and feel that way. And I just got really sad thinking about some of these notes or, you know, feature movie length essays rotting away on some shelf or rotting away on some Google Drive and, you know, like never being shared in any capacity. And that's not to say that I think any of my thoughts or feelings are particularly deep or like super meaningful or that people need to know what I thought or what I felt. It's just, I feel bad for the documents. I feel bad for the pages. I don't know what kind of autism that is, but the other reason why I wanted to start the channel is because I really love doing like group workshops and group discussions and things like that. And after the sort of bananas level success of the anthology I compiled, illustrated and published called Artifice and Access, a disability and fantasy anthology, I have gotten even more excited to do more online advocacy and more online work, and I'm more eager to create some more easily accessible online resources for disability writing and disability justice and, you know, all of that sort of stuff. So hopefully this is what this channel ends up actually being. Question 2. When did you start reading and what book or series got you into it? When I was a wee lass, I started reading the series that shall not be named and I devoured them, and it really helped me with my overachievement style of existence, I guess. Because we had a reading program at school where when you finished reading a book you would go to the library and do a quiz on the book and it would give you points, and I would get 100% on all of these quizzes because I've always been a very close reader. And because I had read the series that shall not be named and a couple of others, I started off the year really strong with the most amount of points ever. I don't think anyone ever beat me because I was constantly like really happy with the external validation that program was giving me. I love being a winner, apparently. So that is one of them. And then when I was 14, I also picked up Daughter of the Forest by Juliet Marilia, and I realized that this is the perfect fantasy for me. Like, it is exactly everything that I ever want in a fantasy book. I was admittedly a little young to be reading that series at the time because there is a very explicit and graphic, horrible sexual assault scene, but in saying that, everything else in the book I was deeply compelled by and fascinated by, and I loved every minute of it. And I got to the end and then immediately had to reread it, and I have reread that book at least once a year every year since then. And I have also reread multiple books in that series, the Seven Waters series. I love it. I adore it. They are my comfort reads, and I would consider them to be quite cozy to me specifically, even though objectively like dark and horrible things are happening throughout those books. They are just, whenever I'm in a bad mood, I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to read a Seven Waters book and I'll be fine. and it works. Question number 3. Why do you love reading? I don't know if this will make any amount of sense, but I'm going to muddle my way through it. And I just really love and am fascinated by what I'm going to call the magical science of storytelling. And what I mean by that is what writers are doing is they are imagining something, right, in their brain, and they are feeling feelings in their body and in their heart, and they are compelled by an idea so much so that they want to translate it into words on a page. And then readers get access to that writing, to those pages, and then we have access to their imagination. And that feels really special. And the other part of that is everyone comes to media with their own experiences and knowledge and preconceived notions, ideologies, all of that sort of stuff. And so when you are given access to somebody else's imagination, you're not actually getting a direct one-to-one translation. You're not actually accessing and seeing and imagining what they imagined fully. You are seeing it through your own filtered perceptions. And I find that really interesting too, because it opens up so many doors for conversation and, I don't know, like opinions and thoughts and feelings and all of that sort of stuff. Like, I've lost count of the amount of times, like in fandom spaces, for example, someone has made a post and been like, oh, when I read this, it made me think of this because I've had this experience. And I'm like, oh my god, like I've never thought about that before, but you're so right. And I just think it has the capacity to add so much depth and complexity to things that may not have been the author's intention, but therein sort of lies another bit of the magic, right? Is this almost perpetual collaboration that goes on between the work and the reader, and then the readers with each other. And I think that's really, really amazing. It deeply fascinates me. I have a feeling I'm gonna have to start a fascination counter right now for however many times I say this. We'll see. Guess now in the comments how many times I say it, and then by the end of the video, if you got it right, you get a virtual high five from me. Later, you'll get a second high five. That one was for everyone. Okay, next question. What kind of books do you like to read? Simple, I love speculative fiction a lot. I love fantasy. I'm not really a sci-fi gal. I think because my brain interprets anything sciencey to be, like real sciencey, and I'm not really interested in real science. Even though sci-fi is, very often actually very speculative. It's just not the right kind of speculative for me. I love fantasy so much. I also love books that have a really, really nice romance to them. If it's fantasy and romance, I really, really love that. I also really love nonfiction, so social commentary, social politics, and what else? Literary criticism. I especially love like the combination of those things. I also really love writing craft books, and this is sort of different from, your average Save the Cat book or book on, I don't know, the 3-act story structure. I mean books on poetic devices and books on story shapes, analyzing excerpts from older works and pulling them apart and looking at the ways that different effects are created. I find that deeply fascinating, and I always have, like even before I started trying to write seriously and started trying to learn how to write, I was really, really interested in all of those things. When we had that class in school that was like, the curtains are not just blue, I was like, hell yeah, they're not just blue. Loved it, deeply, deeply loved it, and still do. Will forever love it. If you ever tell me that the curtains are just blue, I will have to use my bazooka. Next question is, where do you read? And the answer to that is, I read anywhere and everywhere. I read on my computer chair, on my bed, on my floor, on my green IKEA chair, on my blue sofa, on the tiles, on the carpet. I have once read on the kitchen bench because my back really hurt. Will not be telling you what the pretzel logic of that was, but it worked at the time. Because let's just say I have a skeleton that is the bane of my existence, and I like to read where I'm most comfortable, but I am never comfortable, so I constantly have to shift and change and find different ways of reading. But one place where I will never ever read is outside, because in case you can't tell, I am of the fair-skinned, red-headed persuasion, and that is quite incompatible with the Australian sun under which I was born. My doctor has prescribed me 10 minutes of unfiltered vitamin D, as in like sunlight, per day. I get that, and then I go back inside. That is all. Next question. What does your book collection look like? I'm choosing to describe this visually. It looks colorful. It looks like I attempted to organize it, and I did. Please trust me when I say I tried really, really hard to organize my books, but they resist being organized. They don't like being put in boxes. They have minds of their own. Some of them are part of series, and some of them are like off in size by 1 or 2 millimeters, which is deeply frustrating to me, but I am a really, really big supporter of free will and personal choice, so I'm choosing to respect, size also doesn't matter. I'm so sorry. Other descriptors include stacked, horizontal, vertical, bookshelved with a V, piled. They also look a little bit mismatched in places, and they are fantastical for the most part. I think that about covers it. I hope that's acceptable. Question number 7. What are you most excited for about this new channel? I am most excited, I think, about the potential for interactions and, conversations and engagement. Like, I don't have super high hopes that this channel will take off and that I will get tons and tons of engagement. It's more just that I really, really love the ability to have conversations across the world and across different channels and with different people. I also love these kinds of activities, like this video where you sort of being tagged by someone and then you do it and then you go on to tag someone else and it continues. I think that's really nice for, low-key community building and just like sharing in an activity. I also excited for, I think I'm excited to have my thoughts and feelings challenged. Like whenever I share a thought or share my impressions of something, I'm always really, really interested to hear what other people have to say. And I really love considering things from other people's point of view. So I'm really excited for whenever that happens. I think that's probably it. I don't know. I'm very tentatively doing this whole YouTube thing. So we'll see what happens. Next question is, what are some fun and unique things you bring to Booktube? And the only answer I have for this is that I deeply and unironically and somewhat seriously actually do really genuinely love the Nissan S-Cargo. It is the only model of car that I can recognize on site. It is also probably one of the only things that someone could say to me, like, hey, I'll give you a Nissan S-Cargo if you get your driver's license, and then I'd be like, oh shit, like I definitely have to get my license now. It's just the car for me. I'm not really sure if that makes me unique in any way. Actually, you know what, I am sure, because literally every single person I've spoken to about this goddamn car, people have been like, oh my god, it's so ugly, and I'm like, how dare you say that to her? Apologize. I'm also just now realizing that this question doesn't actually specify for whom the things have to be fun and unique for, so I think it's also fun that I have so many notes about everything. I've never said a thought out loud that I didn't first write down as a note. Actually, that's a lie. When I was a kid, I probably did, but in the last few years, no. Everything is filtered through a notebook. Everything is interrogated. Hopefully, one of the things that will be fun for me personally, don't know about anyone else, is the fact that hopefully when I make these videos, I will have thought about something and maybe bringing in specific thoughts and feelings and ideas that aren't, I don't want to say basic because that's not really what I mean, but what I mean is that I really, really love researching things, and so maybe I'll have different ideas and we can start different discussions, is what I mean. Next question is, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? And I think I just want to ask why. I want to be like, let's unpack that. Go back. I really love when I watch like reviews or critical discussions and people will say things like, I read this book and I really loved it because the characters are really, really complex. And then I'm like, that's cool. I'm really glad you enjoyed it. But I want you to like hit pause on this point and I want you to interrogate why you thought the characters are complex, or why the romance didn't feel romantic, or why someone feels, I don't know, just like there are so many different examples. And I swear, this is not coming from a place of like, prove to me that your opinion is true. It's just that I want to understand your point of view better. But I just think it's really, really fascinating, especially like regardless of whether I agree or disagree about a perception of a work or an opinion, it is always genuinely interesting to me to hear people talk about the why of why they thought something or felt something, or they more deeply interrogate why something had the impact on them than it did. That it did, sorry. I know words and can talk. So I think that's a question of just why, how. It's interesting, it's fascinating, it's just everything to me. The next question is, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? And I'll just say this now. I have written about this, I've had essays published about this, but I have a real issue with the concept of overcoming things, because I think in our society we have different systems of power like ableism that demand compulsory able-bodiedness from us and demand really specific and narrow ways of doing things that aren't accessible and aren't fair to different people. And so whenever I come across the word overcome, my brain is like, no. I think I'm just a little bit full of spite, because I do understand that, you know, when people ask this question or when this word is used, it's not always meant completely literally. Like, you just have to accept the way that things are and then overcome it. But I think rather than overcoming any of the challenges that I face, I would like to work with the challenges and, I don't know, maybe negotiate with them a little bit. One of the challenges that I'm having difficulty with at the moment, like just starting this channel out, is my ideas of what a good YouTuber looks like or what a good content looks like. And so, for example, I've been trying really hard in this video to try and make eye contact multiple times with the camera, because I have this idea in my head that if I look at a script, or if I consult my notes, or if I look around the screen, then it looks weird, that it's less interesting to watch if I'm not making eye contact. And this, I don't know, I have difficulties with eye contact in real life, so I'm sort of like, why am I trying to do it on a platform that is mine, where I can do whatever I want, really? And then the other side of this is like, this is virtual. I'm not face to face with anyone. I'm not in direct conversation with anybody. I don't need to be doing eye contact. But there are things like that I think are challenging to me personally, that I would like to, you know, more deeply interrogate within myself, and then maybe find different ways of getting around that. So in previous videos I have read completely 100% from a script, and then another video I was talking to the camera and then also consulting notes, and I found that much easier. So I think I will just try different things and sort of ask myself why things aren't working, and if there's anything I can do to kind of make them work, or if there's anything I can do differently, because I don't know why I'm doing the challenging things if they're challenging, you know? The last point on this list is tag someone else, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. And I don't have anyone to tag specifically, so I think I'll just put the call out. If you are someone who is starting a booktube channel, or someone who is looking for content to make and has yet to make a booktube about me video, I am looking at you in the eyes right now, and I'm saying, you should take this video, this tag, as me talking directly to you specifically, and you should do it, because I would love that personally. And you know what, if you do make the video, tag me, like let me know in the comments below this video, so then I can watch your video and then also leave a comment on your video, and then this can be like a whole thing and we can be besties. No pressure, it's just what'll happen. Question number 12, what is a traumatic memory that you have? And this one is actually super duper recent. So today, I woke up first thing in the morning to the Shrek 5 trailer. I don't know how to be nice about this, but is nothing sacred anymore? Can we have nothing? I mean, we used to be a country. You can't just get to movie number 5 in a really, really beloved franchise and then go, we're gonna change the way that these characters and the world and the animation style looks, so that everyone looks low-key like they're made out of jelly and their eyes are closer together and they look cuter. You've ruined Shrek. He used to be hot. Fiona used to be hot. Donkey used to,